Summertime is almost over, but CRO is still trading below 8 cents. There are some promising indicators for the short term, but when can we expect those price levels like back at $1? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we did create a future timeline to get to the answer, but it might be something you do or do not like. So I would say let's get strapped in and let's find out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only Coin Baron. And right now it is September 2024. And as you might know, September is historically seen a very bad month for crypto in general. So September red, with some glimpses of green. But overall, guys, I'm not only here to look at the short-term projections. I'm here to actually go for the big gains. So you might see right now, guys, October is a lot more green. But I'm not going to sell with just 30% gains. I'm looking for 10x, 15x, 20x even. So therefore, we might have to wait for several green months. So the question really is, when do we see and when do you expect the big highs for the CRO cryptocurrency? Of course, I do not have a crystal ball, so I cannot guarantee a 100% certain future. But what we can do, like Rec Capital over here, is that we look at historic data and historic patterns. For example, what we see on this screen is that Bitcoin really relies on its halving events. So we have the first halving, the second halving, and the third halving. And normally we have those green patterns after a certain amount of days after the halving event. That happens once, twice, and right now it is looking to be somewhat similar as with the previous cycles. Based on the recurring Bitcoin halving cycles, Rec Capital thinks that we will see a bull peak in mid-September or mid-October of 2025 for Bitcoin, so in about a year's time. But of course, we're not only interested in Bitcoin, we also want to know more about Cronos and other altcoins. On this chart, you can find all the recent halving events, and also some question marks, but more about those in a minute. First, I want to focus on the actual halving events and the Bitcoin price, because halving 4, that was quite the anomaly. And let me show you why. If we take a look at the Bitcoin price at the bottom of the cycle, we can draw the ruler and we see that from the bottom, we were up about 250% for the second halving event. Then for the third halving event, again, we get the ruler, and we were up from the bottom about that 200%. For halving 4 though, it was completely different, because what we see is that from the bottom, we are up about 300%. So a lot more than halving 2 and halving 3. So you could say that we are ahead of schedule. If we then take a look at the starting points of the bull run, that's why I use these green dotted lines with the question mark. And from that point onwards, guys, you do see it's basically only going up. So this is start of a cycle 2. Interesting, isn't it? So there we have the start. There we have the start. And what is cool to see is that normally after the halving, it takes about 120 days to get to the real bull start. You can see the same thing in halving 3. So halving 3, about 120 days, or here about 130 days, but still in that similar range. Right now though, it's a complete different story again, because from the halving event, we're about 176 days in. But as I mentioned earlier, we're a bit ahead of schedule, a bit overheated with Bitcoin. We are very close to the previous all-time high. And if we could compare that to the previous cycle, where were we when we had the previous all-time high? So this is the previous all-time high at about 20K. We were there over here, kind of over here, right? That was where we had some momentum. So I would say after the halving event, it took us about 200 days, about 210 days actually, to get to the previous all-time high. So if we would get back to that point, well, what would that get us? So from the halving event, about 210 days, that would get us to November 2024. That could be the start of the next leg up for Bitcoin. Also, looking at some macro events, that November timeframe collides really well with the US elections and potentially more Fed rate cuts. So I would say that could be a potential catalyst that will really start the next leg for Bitcoin. Now let's go back to the charts because I added a new dotted line. And this time around is the pink dotted line. And you might have guessed already, it's all about Cronos. And guys, on this channel, we only talk really about Cronos. So don't forget to hit the like button and of course, subscribe for more. But this, guys, and you might not believe it, this was the start of CRO Bull 1. Start of CRO Bull 1. Really, really late. We're not talking about 100 days, 200 days. Right now, guys, from the halving event, it took about 400 days. 400 days to get to the start of the CRO Bull run. And if you don't believe me, I will show it to you. So you do see I took this part over here as the beginning of the CRO Bull run. That was on the 10th of June. The 10th of June of 2021. And let's go back to the previous one. This started over here, guys. This dotted blue line. The 10th of June 2021. So a big difference between the start of the Bitcoin bull cycle and the start of the CRO Bull cycle. And by now, you probably already know that these solid lines were the all-time high for Bitcoin and CRO, with the green one being Bitcoin and the pink one being Cronos. But it is very important, guys, to still understand that this is just going to be the second cycle for Cronos. This was only the first cycle, so we do not have much data like with Bitcoin. But if history is going to repeat, well, that's kind of what you could expect. So to answer the question, when will the bull market for CRO start and when will it end? We can again take a look at history. So we already know it took about 400 days after the halving for the CRO Bull run to start. And it took about, about, well, 566 bars, so 566 days to fulfill the complete bull cycle. So from here on out, then guys, we could expect 400 more days for the start. 400 more days for the start. So then we're talking about May 2025. Then the CRO Bull run might start. And when will it end? Then we're talking about 556 days. It might end in October 2025. So there you have it. May 2025 and October 2025. Very important dates, guys. Very important dates. Keep those in your schedule. Put them in your nice agenda. And make sure you are prepared for the upcoming bull run. If you want to get prepared for the upcoming bull cycle, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, of course, for more videos like this. And also don't forget to watch my old videos. Because, for example, you might need to know what you're really investing in. And guys, Cronos is not a stock.